The daughter of reality star Todd Chrisley is facing several charges in Cherokee County. Lindsay Chrisley was arrested Saturday, charged with DUI, reckless driving, and speeding. She is a former star of Chrisley Knows, which was filmed in Metro Atlanta before moving to Nashville. Her father, Todd, and his wife were pardoned by President Donald Trump on their fraud and tax evasion convictions.